Well, hello, you beautiful, beautiful people. I hope you're all well. You're looking fabulous on this Friday, Thursday, weekday. I'll go with weekday. I'm pretty sure it's not the weekend yet. It's that trip to Florida. I'm still trying to detox and get back to normality. But anyway, a lot of you had emailed me reference a video. Now, the video link is going to be in the description of this video. And please feel free to go and have a listen to it yourselves. And this is a guy he's new on the platform. He's kind of going around Idaho. He's getting some information, and obviously people are reaching out to him, apparent locals, and he does a phone interview with someone who gives their version of what happened that fateful night in Moscow, Idaho, that sadly saw the loss of life of 4 of the university students there. Now look, what are my thoughts? My thoughts are bollocks. I'm calling it utter bollocks. And look, that's no disrespect for the person whose channel it is. You know, the guy is on the, his boots on the ground, he's going around, and he clearly wants to get to the truth, which a lot of people want to get to the truth. But the downside with wanting to get to the truth is that there are people who are out in the fields, and they know that there's people who are trying to get to the truth, and they also know that there's certain narratives that if you don't believe in the flat out Brian Koberger's just a psychopath and he did this crime, then there's going to be little caveats off of that, such as the drugs and the house and the people who are missing, and they themselves can embellish stories, and they can make up their own version of events that kind of fit into that kind of conspiracy and can gain traction, can gain them notoriety. And we've seen it throughout this entire case. We've even seen large YouTube channels fabricate disgusting audio recordings. And look, there is a little bit of an issue with audio recordings at the moment, because there is an audio recording out there, and I feel that there's getting a little bit of a muddle up between one that has elements of fabrication in it and the actual true audio, because we know that included in the proper court documentation there is an audio recording mentioned. But I believe that the only accurate recording that exists and is part of this is the recording with which you hear a slight thud, dog barking, and that's pretty much it. The one that's floating around and it seems to display a person, a lot of it is inaudible, but it seems to be a male voice, a female voice, that I believe is a fabrication. You may know, you may not know, there was when this big YouTuber, I'm not going to name his name, if you've been around long enough, you know who it was, surname Morris, and he did this recording. And it was proven that this was fabricated. And the person who fabricated this video had done it specifically to show how easy it was to fabricate an audio recording. And by using elements and adding bits and pieces, and look, it's a little bit dark, but like I say, as far as I'm aware, the only accurate recording of that night was dog, muffles, that sort of stuff. And what we're seeing here is, again, we're seeing people fabricating, like I say, just feeding into this overarching story that there is drugs involved. And look, was there stuff going on in the background? I have a huge suspicion that this house was involved in stuff, and they potentially got up to their neck in stuff. Now, did they get up to their neck in stuff enough for there to be a catalyst for what happened? I don't know. Could it have been that this house and what they were getting up to and getting into was what could have sparked the curiosity and perhaps made them a target? That's a different story. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that this was some sort of drug den and they got into a load of debt with a cartel and the cartel came in there and did whatever they did, and this has now been a cover-up because of law enforcement have got their hands in the till, and it's possible. It's possible, but do I personally think that that's the case? I've not seen enough yet. But what I will say is there are elements of this that are just not right. And people seem to get confused when you say that there's feelings that things aren't right. What they struggle with is this. I feel that obviously this was this was done. This situation occurred. And if Brian Koberger's the man, if he's the man, then something triggered that. Something raised his, put them in his crosshairs, so to speak. And I believe that the way in which this house operated, how they had the parties and how they did this, that and the other, was potentially the catalyst. And that's purely my speculation. Nothing's set in stone. Nothing says that is what happened, but that's the way I look at it. I don't believe it was random. And I don't believe that law enforcement believed it was random either. And I believe that law enforcement potentially knew what was going on in that house. And that is why very early on they said that was targeted. Because I believe that they even thought that this was connected to narcotics or something that had gone wrong around that sort of thing. Now, we have got to wait for the trial. The trial's got to come out, because at the end of the day, this is spiraling off into so many variations of stories, and you can make various variations of a story, and it can get out of control, and I think we're way beyond that. And ultimately, we don't know everything. There's got to be more evidence on BK, surely. It can't be all they've got, surely. Who knows? We might be shocked yet, and he might plead guilty in the end. But for now, go and look at that video. That for some it might open your eyes. For some, you might be on the same position as me and think it's just someone else jumping on the bandwagon, and they're hooking into some of the things they know are popular narratives, and people want to hear this sort of thing. And it may fit into little elements of the Idaho 4 case with the narcotics and the Brent co-packer situation, which it was Jules of All Trades who got hold of some audio with respect of the Brent co-packers. If you've not seen that, head over to Jules of All Trades and go and check out the Brent co-packer audio as well, because that, to me, of every single thing that we have heard, every single thing that we have seen, whether it be the narcotics, whether it be in and Harsh, whether it be Kim and her stuff that she comes out with, or Dave and the interviews he did and what he raised, the biggest thing to me, which just seems like too much of a coincidence, is the Brent co-packer situation. Now, could it have been just a coincidence? Yes, of course it could, but I just feel that this situation is being protected beyond what I would expect it to be protected. Now, are they doing it just because of who he was, and he was a hero? The guy was a hero, but heroes can descend into chaos, and heroes can be manipulated if they're manipulated by the right person, and they can lose control if placed in a situation that pushes them into having an episode. Will we ever know? Something that I keep asking. Will we ever know what truly happened in this case? I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But there's a lot to come from this. And I'll catch you all in the next one.